Here's a little bit of an overview of what I'm going to go through. So this is not just going to be like basic, like inverted veer, I think, which is what most guys would call your normal power read. I'm going to go through, we've run, like, if you've ever seen any team like on Saturdays or anybody run some version of power read, we've probably done it too. Like, I steal shit all the time from you guys. So that's what we originally started with this, the inverted veer. A lot of this stuff came about 2 years ago because our starting quarterback went down week 2 with a broken collarbone. Missed the rest of the year, so we ended up having to move a receiver to quarterback. And you know, it's like a 4-3, so we started running shit out of a lot of this stuff. We do a lot of different things off of it. I'm going to try to get through everything if I can here, especially on this side. We do a lot of play action pass. I don't have access to a lot of this stuff in Indian Trail anymore, but I would say probably tendency-wise I lean more towards the pass than the run. We throw the ball a lot. We've had, I think in 6 years I had 8 receivers who were first team all-conference in our league. So one of them now plays at Iowa State, a couple at Whitewater, so we've had some good players. We throw the ball quite a bit. We do some RPO stuff. It looks a little different than the power blocking. I'll show you how that works. Go through that. I got a few things that I'm going to try this coming year on the bottom here. I diagrammed those up. There are a few things on here that I don't have film of. Just not being at Indian Trail anymore, they were not like super thrilled about sharing the film with me for some reason. So I don't have all of it. We'll get right into it here first off. So I'll go through the basic inverted veer stuff first. Well, we call it dash. That's like we call it the dash read. I'm going to go through like different fronts that we see in our league. So in SEC we primarily see a lot of 4-2-5. I think this year 7 out of our 9 games were 4-2-5 teams. We saw 1-3 stack and then 1-3-4 team, which are Oak Creek and Frank. So this is nothing crazy. I'm sure Coach went over some of this in the last one. This is just our basic version. Now, formationally, what we do against 4-2-5 is 2-2. If we're in a 2x2 set, we tend to run this to the boundary. I really like running to the boundary. If we go 3x1, then we're on the field. All the numbers game, right? Nothing crazy. Okay, it's the first clip. Now, this is a little bit different than the diagram. This is against Racine Park. They will at times rotate their safety down, which you can see up top here. You can see the influence that the sweep action has on display here. So their defensive end right now, this is not in display. They have a D end. It's probably going to be a D1 kid. It's like, I don't know, 6'6", 270 or something. Just an absolute freak. But he, for some reason, can never. He has no idea what's going on these plays, but. So again, power blocking, I think like Coach said in the last talk, we don't block power probably any different than any of you guys do. I mean, it's the same. You know, we changed it up based on some fronts, and I'll show you that here in the next couple clips here. But against the forefront, I mean, for us, the O-line, like we signal to the O-line and the skill guys separately. So our O-line has no idea what the play in the backfield is. Okay, this could be power read, it could be we run toss read, we run all kinds of different stuff off of it, or it could be actual power. They don't know. They just know they got to block power, and if we're running actual power, there'll be a guy here, either off the line or the tight end to block that guy. Otherwise, we're leaving him on the block from everybody.
I know I didn't talk about it. You guys coach a 2-step read?
So
step back for shuffle, yeah.
Yeah, we do the shuffle. Right, yeah. Like I've seen, I know, like I talked to the guy from Bayport, because they're big on this. They do like a different, like, their quarterback like steps back and then pushes off, which is weird. My guys, I don't work coordinated enough to do that. So, but the linebacker here takes himself right out of the play. Both of them do. These guys, I'll be honest, these guys are not very good, but I think they've won like 2 games in the last 5 years. So, this quarterback is the worst running quarterback I ever had. He's like a baby giraffe. He was a sophomore. He could not move at all. He's a much better thrower. Okay, odd teams. Now this is going to be, all these clips are going to be against Oak Creek. So Oak Creek's the only odd team in our league, or 3-4 team anyway. And when we play them, now they're a huge slant to the field team. They slant to the field almost every play, and it is extremely predictable. And we've always had very good success against these guys running it this way. But the difference is here now is we're going to block defensive end and read that outside linebacker. Okay. And fortunately for them, it took them like 3 years to figure this out. They were rotating their coverage over the top. And since they were slanted to the field, this guy's slanting and giving us our give read here, and they had no secondary support at all. So a lot of these clips here, you can see a running back just taking to the house. So you can see the alignment here. So their two safeties are here and here. So they have no secondary support up top. Slant towards the field, it's a give read. As long as your receiver up top can block a little bit, you're good. And the quarterback here, I will say too, this kid was our conference player of the year. His senior year, he's like he thinks he's Johnny Manziel or Baker Mayfield running around back there. He was very good at the shuffle, even if it was a give, he'd always give the little jab, and you can see it hold both this linebacker right here and the outside guy, just enough. So let us get her, and he knew it right away. As soon as it was a give, it was a touchdown. A little bit. Yeah. Oh yeah, he bought into that too. He thought he was a nice Johnny Manziel. This is another one. So this is from the year before. This is a playoff game. I think we beat them like 60 to 28 or something. They could not stop. I think we rushed for 500 yards, mostly off of this play. Same thing. But if you see okay, again, the secondary is totally rotated over, which screwed them here. They had no one here. So this number 4 right here is the guy we're going to read. Since they slanted the field. Now, if we were going to run it, like if we were running actual power against these guys, like if we were going to run it to this side, we might still, we still have a call, our old line guys have a call where they will block back on all these guys. So like our tackle would go out, our center is going to come all the way back to the DN. We're going to come down here, down, kick, and then we pull for this guy here. So we have, I forget what they call it, like it's some sort of way to say block back, and another way to block towards the play side. I forget where that terminology. The line guys are kind of weird. They always have funny names or shit that I never remember. So again, formation-wise against these guys, 3-4 team, I think going to a 3-by-1 set really puts them in a bind, no matter what. That time we were kind of trips the boundary, and they were adjusted. Now this one's different. Now this one we're going to go trips the field, and the reasoning is this. Okay, this kid right here, number 4, receiver, plays at Iowa State right now. He is an absolute stud. He's like 6'3", 200 pounds, runs a 4.5, was the state runner-up in the long and triple jump, so he's a freak in nature. So they were bringing this linebacker out to double him or to take away anything underneath. So we knew they were going to slant from the field this year and ran. So this time it's going to be the inverted gear into the field. We're going to read the outside backer again here. And this one's going to be a key read for the back. Again, you can see the coverage rotation. This time the safety over rotates and runs right by him. You can see better from the end of the view. So our read is this guy out here. And you can see the end pinches, so if we weren't reading this guy, this would have been a give read right here, and we would have ran right into him. So the safety overran. Jared had any speed at all, he would have scored this one. They also, at times, Oak Oak Creek will shift down into a bear front against us, which I love when they do that because I know we're about to absolutely destroy them. The read does not change, it just brings the outside linebacker closer to where we are, so it gives our quarterback a little bit of a quicker read on him. And trips the field, runs to the boundary. Full read here. Reads here now. Quarterback makes a good move in their guard, I think, overruns the linebacker here. Yep. Yeah, you can see that play right there. It should tell you everything you need to know about that kid. He just thought he's the man. He was good. He was our conference player of the year, so he was a stud. Cocky little shit. Same thing, it's going to be a give read this time. I think this is a good one, Lane. I think he has a real good fake here for it. Yep. Yeah, that was his thing. This is actually, I think this was late in the game. We needed to get a first down here to secure it. Because Oak Creek, I don't know from Oak Creek here in particular. Honestly, they typically start the year like very, very highly rated. And then they just like this. They tail off, and I'm not really sure why, but this game I think they were ranked like 2 or 3 in state, and we beat them. This was early, maybe week 3. Yeah, I need that one to I think seal the deal there. Okay, now 3 stacks. So this is probably where we're the most different than a lot of teams. Like now I was just talking to Coach Yashinsky about this, and he was talking like how Logan, I guess up here, will shift into a 3 stack. So we read the play side linebacker on this. I'm going to show you. I'll show you the example or the clip that made us switch to this. And it's been a good move for us because some of the biggest problems we were having were our pulling guard was almost never be able to get to this guy because as soon as he was seeing the sweep action from running back, that guy was flying outside, and our a guard trying to chase a linebacker is usually not good for the offense. So we made this switch partially for that reason. The other reason was the first clip here. This is, you guys know anything about Illinois, this is Adley Stevenson High School. They are like 5,000 students in their school. And they're a week behind us too. So Illinois starts, their first week 1 games are our week 2 games, right? So in order to scout these guys, we look back to the season prior to this. And they were a 4-2-5 team. Well, in the offseason, they hired a new D coordinator, and he switched to a 3 stack. We didn't know that until we came out the game, so we didn't make any adjustments right away. Okay, and you'll see better from the end zone view. Okay, this guy right here, the safety, his name is Matt Morrissey. His dad played for the Bears. I don't know, I forget his dad's first name, but played for the Bears. He this year just finished his senior year at Michigan State. Was a stud. This linebacker went to Boston College. This DN went to Michigan. And this linebacker right here went to Northern Illinois, I think. So they were like stacked. And we beat them actually, 15-14, because we sacked the quarterback in the end zone. He threw it away, got called for intentional grounding, so we got a safety and beat him by 1, which is the craziest ending to a game I've ever seen. But so what they were doing was, as soon as our tackle would step down, you can see it better from the end once I get there, that defensive end, the kid who's going to Michigan, would just step down and just, boom, just take out our pulling guard, or our center for pulling. And then that was forcing the give read, and the linebacker was just scraping over top and killing our running back. And we didn't realize it at first, obviously, because we didn't think they were going to be in this defense. But this was really the play that made us change this going forward. Because I mean, if you know about our league, if you want to win the SEC in our league, you got to beat Franklin. Franklin is a 3 stack team. And they're very good. Their defense is incredible. So you're gonna see, okay, so 78 is a kid right here, so we're gonna send our tackle down on this. See what this guy does. So he sees the tackle down, he's gonna come, take out our puller. Fortunately, these two guys overrun it here, thinking that it's a give read. And our quarterback is able to take it to the house for a touchdown. Which is crazy, because they, I think both of those kids are number 8 and number 55 are both Division I athletes, so they're no slouches. So this was really the reason we did it. Now these next two clips, these are against Franklin now. So this is later than that. Okay, so now we've switched the blocking scheme to where we're going to read the play side linebacker instead. This one is a keep read here. The read guy's going to be the both on the same plays. It's number 26. So this year, Franklin, I think they ended up losing the state title game to Arrowhead. They beat us in the playoffs 17-14 in like actually a mud fest. It was the last year they had grass at their place. It was just a mud fest. So here's 26. Okay, so 26 right here is going to be our read. Okay, now and Coach Shinsky asked about what we would do with our play set tackle, and what we typically, what they were taught to do, whether he's going to do it here or not, I don't remember, but he would tell him to step first with his inside foot to not let that defensive end cross his face. Because if we get a pull read, we still want the quarterback to be able to get it up in the pull. Let's see how College does it. They did a decent job there. Okay, so 26 comes flying off the edge, the pull read. Quarterback next couple of minutes. This kid was pretty fast. He went to Upper Iowa, I think. This one's okay, now same guy right here, stack backer. This time he's going to step down inside. And as soon as he steps inside, Zach knew, all right, hand it off. Kid still makes a pretty good play because they're good. Their linebackers are good. They're always a very good linebacker. It's ridiculous. Okay, now, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go a little bit into the complementary plays off the power read quick, and then I'm going to switch back to like the different, like the toss read, downhill read, all that stuff. But I just want to go through and show you guys some of the things that we do off of this to try to help keep the defense honest. The first one, quarterback counter. So this was one that we just put in last year. This was with the kid the receiver that we moved to quarterback. I did not run this with like the previous kids who were, mostly just inverted veer stuff. But this ended up being a good play for us. We broke off a few pretty big runs here. So this is actually against Case, the team I currently coach right now. So they're a 3-stack team as well. But so what we do is the backfield action is the same. It's just he gives a quick shuffle, plant, and then comes back. And we run counter both ways. We'll do it where we pull our like the H-back sniffer guy, and we also run, if we have a tight end in the game, we'll pull the tackle as well. And we just have our tight end basically. He'll just tell the tackle, like, all right, if I'm off the line behind you, I'm just going to say, me. If I'm on the line next to you, I'm going to go, you pull this time. That's all we do for that. So you can see the middle linebacker here, okay, number 24. Yeah, you guys know this kid this year today. He's like the quietest kid I've ever had in my life, but he bites on these really hard. So that's the Mike back. He's still chasing all the way out here. He plays one that way. So there's that now. So that last play, I'll run that so you guys can see it. Go back to that one. There it is. So this one now we have the running back opposite of the tight end here. So it's the shuffle. It's kind of like the counter, and we go back the opposite direction. So the next one now is going to be where they're on the same side, like this. So we did this against a couple teams, especially if they had a DN that wanted to try to crash the mesh point when we were running our anchor and veer. If he was coming down really hard right at the mesh, we would do this, and we would just we would have our tight end just blowing him out of there, and it's just an automatic key 3. Or if their linebackers were flying over the top, so they were doing one. So in this case, you can see their DN number 8 steps down really hard. Our guard takes him out. This is one of the better blocks this kid ever had in his career right here. Number 74. I think he's a band kid too. Band kid right here. All right, now we run, like I said, we throw the ball a lot. We've had good quarterbacks that have good arms, they're fairly accurate, and we've had really good receivers. So we do a lot with this play action of the fake of the inverted veer in the backfield. So the shuffle, set up, and throw. Now for the most part, what I've done is, this was really influenced by kind of like the Art Riles Baylor offense. Kind of like, essentially you got like one guy's running around, everybody else is just like doing like the Randy Moss impression out here. Okay, save your legs, we're gonna let one guy run a route and take a shot. So we do a lot of these, and I'm gonna try to go through them relatively quickly here because I can try to get one example of each. We call this a knife route, so this is like a backside post. So what we did, again against Oak Creek, we knew whenever we would run this action in the backfield, the safety would bite hard, and we just tell this receiver to get inside of that backside safety and we're off for the touchdown here. So you can see the safety, the play side safety here bites hard on this. This is him all the way down here right now. So we call this a glance route. Now at this, I would run against teams that like to press your single receiver. You go trips away from them. This action, especially, so you'll see a receiver like here, another 4-2-5 team. This action sucks this safety net. He's actually kind of shaded more in the middle of the field on this particular play, but he was a very aggressive kid. This Joe Garcia, he was like, he might have been a first team All-State guy. He's a very good running back. But he bit very hard on this every time we would run this. So we knew we could run by this corner. This one with that little horse here. You can see just how much it sucks these linebackers when we can see this. This is against Case, so they're, like I said, they're 3-stack and 3-3, cover 1, cover 3, so we knew this kid that playing corner on him, I think was a first team All-State corner, but we knew they didn't have help over the top, so if we could get the inside release on him, we would get him and beat him up over the top. That line is very good. This one, okay, now here, this one is a play that we would have run as an RPO. The clip I'm going to show you is not an RPO. I don't have the film of it. This is the one clip on the whole thing that's from this current season right now. When we RPO off of this action, okay, so it's different than like if you're running it with inside zone or ISO or something where it's a handoff for the most part, and then a throw read. there's two different ways we'll do this with the power read action. We want the running back to be the ball carrier. With the throw read, we're gonna block it wide zone. So like, everyone is full reach, it's shuffle, up and throw it, or shuffle, hand it off just like you would inverted veer. Okay? If we want to run the quarterback, we typically run it like trap or one back power. And I'll show you the diagrams of those. This play, right, the one here now is just a play action. So my quarterback this year was a sophomore. He's not. And Case traditionally has been a 21 personnel power I team. So this was the first year they've ever run the spread once I came in. So this is just play action, and it's actually against Indian Trail. Because I knew from practice from the previous 6 years that these guys bite very hard whenever they saw this action, right? So this safety, if he fills, all we're looking at is this. So it's a third level RPO here. This safety comes down, okay? The receiver is going to come in kind of like he's chopping, like he's going to stock block, and as soon as he sees that guy commit, take off and run by him, and then we're going to throw it right up over the top. Or if he takes off with the pass, okay, that's their run support on the edge out here. So now we have a +1 advantage because we have our H-back. So we have them outnumbered either way. This one is just play action pass, and this goes for a touchdown. But you can see how it freezes both the corner and the safety down here. So you run right by the corner. This is my favorite play to run in practice against the IT defense when I was there. Because that, 4-2-5 teams at boundary safeties in a real bind against the run. Okay, play action post to our outside guy here. This is going to go to our line, this receiver that we had. Again, you can see that it's going to influence the safety the most here, this guy. So what we're going to do is we're going to run a hitch underneath him, plus the run action at him. So he's really frozen here. He takes his read steps and comes right back downhill. We get the pulse right behind him. This is a check situation here too. So you can see the safety. Safety's bid on that. Ball's already out. This is, we call this a shape route, or some guys might call it like a circus route, your terminology. I love this one in like the goal line, or mid red zone area. Really good play for us. We threw this one to Armani a ton. He has the advantage of being both really big, fast, and can jump really high. He has hands that are like the size of a frying pan. Yeah, so they ended up giving us, one ref says no, one ref gives us a touchdown here. Good against man teams too, or like his typically man. They gave us a touchdown. Okay, and then this one, stop route, probably my favorite third and medium play. So we will run the regular inverted view, run third and medium too. Especially in the boundary against 4-2-5 team. This again against Oak Creek. So we just teach run to 12, and then they have the option of wherever the corner is. You can just break outside, or you can come right back down and just flip around. Well, depends on the leverage in the corner here. Yeah, holds the underneath guy. So the guy against Oak Creek obviously is going to be this. this outside linebacker here, number 39. Trying to keep him from getting underneath this route. So the action holds in here, you're able to hit the out route. Same thing here now. This is against Casey again, so 3 stack team. Okay, we don't run a lot of concepts off of this though. The one that we have done is some 4 verticals. Teams in our league, 4-2-5 teams, they're big on solo coverage, which solo is that backside safety is going to match 3 vertical. Okay, we see a ton of that. We don't see much of like our defense for a while. They would carry number 3 with like a will here, which they ended up getting shredded on that against Franklin, so we switched it. This particular clip, I believe, goes to the tight end here. The safeties, you can see just the action in the backfield freezes them enough that our tight end is able to run right by the safety. And this is with like the quarterback who was a receiver, so definitely not a throwing kid. Just as long as you can freeze the defense enough to give them some time. Okay, here, now this one, another one that we run as an RPO. So this one is the first time we ever thought about this one. I remember looking at this diagram and being like, "Oh shit! Like this could be a really big player. This is going to be an easy interception for the defense." So what we do on this, we have Red and Mike backer here. Okay, so this would be blocked like our, which I'll get to here in a few minutes. If you're here in the break, I talked a little bit about like our inside zone where we would like a bash play, which bash is like the back is away from your read. So it's the same look in the backfield as you would get on our inverted veer, okay, but we block inside zone up front the opposite way of the play. Okay, so if we want to run like the inverted veer left, we're going to block the zone to the right. And otherwise, it's the same read for the quarterback. The only difference is the quarterback would pull. He's got to run the path back here like an inside zone versus trying to stay downhill with power. I don't recall if this was an RPO when we ran this in these 2 games here. I have 2 clips of this. But you can see the influence it has now on these linebackers here. Okay. And again, like I talked about earlier with Oak Creek tends to they leave a lot of open space in the secondary. Okay, they're a 3-4 team. They like to keep those 7 guys real close to the box for the most part. So this worked well. We knew if we could get by those second level guys, we were going to be good here. So this kid makes some good moves and he's really fast, so that helps. Okay, so he's number 40. So he steps down. That was where I was worried about right there. First time we ever did it. Really worried about that throwing lane, but it worked out. One of this same play now. This against Racine Horlick again. Another team. They're very aggressive. They blitz a lot. They try to route 7 a lot. So we knew if we could get by these linebackers, we would get a big gain out of this. So you can see they fly down wide open in the middle of the field for the slant. Okay, now this one. Okay, this was like the first RPO we ever tried right here. This was, you guys probably have seen this before, but we still have from Ole Miss. Like Ole Miss ran this like, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 7 years ago. It's like the 4-in-1 play. So what we have here is 2 pre-snap options. We give the quarterback the hitch out here, and we tell him, all right, you like it, throw it, you got it. If you don't like that, check the bubble, okay? And we also do some of the dogmatic stuff. I like the halo thing that he teaches, his overlay for the field. I'm big on that, where you talk about like your You got your box, you got your outside space, your apex, the hard deck, all that stuff. We do that kind of thing. So the way we teach is like the alley out here, or the outside space, this box right here, essentially from the hash to the numbers up to 7 yards. We tell our guy, our quarterback, all right, if we have them outnumbered in that box, throw the bubble, okay? So that was the second option. If he didn't like either one of those two, he could come back and we were going to run our wide zone with our wide, running the stick route, reading the Mike linebacker as a post-snap RPO. So what we would do with this, since it was 4-1, is we would literally tell our guys as we go out for a series, we'd say, okay, and we just call this NASCAR. That's how we call it. We'd say, all right, we're going to run NASCAR this series. And they would just do it until we told them to stop. So we would just say, okay, go. They run it, the play is dead, they get right back on the line and do the exact same thing. Boom, 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 boom. So what I have all the clips here. So again, this is a play out game against Oak Creek. The 4 plays in a row, you're going to see all 4 different options. You're going to hit all 4. This is literally 4 plays in a row. So you're going to see, this time he throws a hitch up top here. So he likes the hitch, corners off, throws it. You get 7 yards, which I'll take on a hitch all day. Next one. Next one is a bubble. Okay. Not the best bubble. They got a 3, we got a first down out of it though. Okay. Now this one's going to be a throw read. So this time he doesn't like either one, which hitch to the field when you're off to the hash. That's a long throw. Pretty compressed over here for the bubble. So what he's going to do is this linebacker right here is our read. Tight end's just going to stick up behind him and run the wide zone out here. So his read steps down, throw it. And this is the kid playing tight end who was up to Wofford College, which is they're an FCS school in South Carolina. So he was a stud too. He played outside linebacker. He's very good. He led the state in sacks this year for us. This is a give read now. I think our running back makes a bad cut here. But again, the action in the backfield really, to them, because we run so much of the inverted veer, they see that, and the reason why this linebacker flew over the top. And if you were to see the whole game film of this, the entire game, I bet we ran this probably 15 times. And I think probably 8 to 10 of them were thrown to the stick route because that linebacker was biting on that sweep action so hard. So 25 right here would be his read. Probably should have thrown it. Okay, all right, now the tunnel screen. Okay, so I don't know how many of you guys run a tunnel screen or not, but the problem that we always had was the Mike linebacker is always the guy that made the tackle whenever we were trying to run this. Okay, we could get these 3 guys blocked out here. The problem was we would, for the most part, were just stepping, taking a drop, turn, and throw, and then Mike would just sit there, take his steps, and then he'd take off, peel out, and go blow up the ball. Receiver catches the ball. So what we did, and I stole this from, you guys, Coach talked about a lot of guys on Twitter that he follows. If you follow James Blight, you know him or not, he has like a website that you can, if you have a membership to that, or it's invite only type thing, I think, but he puts a ton of stuff on there. And his team in Michigan ran this, and I saw it, and I was like, sure shit, this is the exact, he described the exact same problem that we had with this play. And what they were doing was they were making power, pulling the guard, and that was holding the Mike linebacker just long enough for their center to get there to seal him off, and they were in their tunnel screen out there. So I was like, shoot, let's give it a try. And it worked really well. The problem was this was the year that our quarterback busted his collarbone. This is week 1 against Hudson, who's a really good team. We only ran it one time this week. The next week he broke his collarbone in the first quarter, and this is the only time we ever ran it in a game. It worked awesome for us in the scrimmage against Arrowhead and in practice, but you can see here, that was a good job. This is the guy right here. We always had trouble with in this play. So the action of pulling the guard and the backfield action helped hold him just enough that we were able to get the ball here. Now this time, our sophomore slot receiver is not a very good blocker, and this play gets blown up by the corner and the outside back. If they had blocked there, it would have been a decent game for us. So again, this was always our trouble spot on this play. Right here, you can see the action in the backfield with the guard pulling, holds him just long enough. Unfortunately, our receivers. Okay, this is a reverse off of it. Again, now we block. When we run the reverse, we block like wide zone. So I'm just going to go to the slot receiver. This is Coach Bradford, another 4-2-5 team. They fly hard over the top. They're very aggressive. Well, they had a new coach now, but they were very, very aggressive flying over the top on our inverted veer. So it's worked out well, aggressive touchdown here. Okay, this one now here, I don't have film of this. Okay, this is an RPO that we ran a lot of a few years back. So, as I said before, when we run the RPO off this action, if we want the running back to be the ball carrier, we were blocking wide zone. If we want the quarterback to be the ball carrier, we're either running trap like this, or I think the next slide I have it with one back power like this. So these are the two different ways we've done it if we wanted our quarterback to be the ball carrier. Forgot to change that there. This worked out very well for us. This was a really good play. We saw the kid who was catching all those slants on those little play action. We have him lined up here, and he's a squirrely little dude who plays at Whitewater right now. Very quick, very fast. He'd catch this little 5-yard sticker out and turn it into 12, 15 yards for us on a regular basis. So it worked out really well. And the action in the backfield, again, it's the same thing. It's just the shuffle, and then it's just, if he's going to throw, I would just tell him, shuffle, plant that back foot, and just boom, fire it right down. Okay, if that linebacker float over the top. Otherwise, it was, if that guy sat or went out, it's just shuffle, and pull it just like you normally do on the inverted veer, exact same thing. Nothing changes. Okay, now, so split back, Coach talked about this in his last one, so this is probably very similar to what he does. So this is at Tremper. Now this is the first game that we played with this kid at quarterback. We moved from receiver. And this is our first drive of the game. So his first series ever playing quarterback. And he's going to take this one all the way to the house. So he's very fast. You can see on his clip how quick he is. So he just totally out on everybody. And this kid, number 14 right there too, is like I think he finished like 6th in the state in 100 last year in track too. So we had a lot of speed, which helps a lot with this stuff. Okay, this one now, okay, play action off of this. So like all of our two-back stuff, like terminology-wise, like I try to keep like a theme to it. It's a two-back. All of our play action off this were called like named after like WWE wrestlers, and I like the kids picking them all. So this one was called Cena. They like when they're a big John Cena fan. But so it's essentially 4 verticals here with our agent is just going to be the wheel guy. So I have 2 clips over here. One where it hits to our X running up the seam. Yeah, the second one goes to the wheel around here. But what I do is I would tell the quarterback check, see what the safety does first, right? Because if the safety comes downhill on the run fake, we've got a 2-on-1, so we're guaranteed something here. Okay, and then after, if he comes downhill, see who the corner chase the X, throw the wheel. If not, you got the X on the seam around here. This one probably should not have went where he throws it, but it works out. So you can see that the corner is going to chip. So this is Racine Park. They tend to play a little bit of man coverage at times. The corner chases inside, the safety sits inside, so they're running back comes wide open on the wheel route here. Again, just the backfield action of that inverted veer look, because we run so much of it, holds linebackers, it holds safeties. It's been, that probably has been what's defined our offense the most ever since I've been at Beacon True. Okay. Now now it's the toss read version of the play. So if you watch like Clemson does this, well not this year, not so much with Trevor Lawrence in there, but when they had Deshaun Watson and even Kelly Bryant, they ran this play quite a bit. So it's the exact same concept. It's just the difference is now the running back is already on the play side and he's running the toss path. And the one thing that we did find with this was you get the defensive end out leverage much quicker with this version of it because you don't have to worry I don't want to call it slowness, but the slower action of the sweep version. So this works really well, and I think now you'll get to see the kid from Park who's a stud. Yep. Okay. So again, now, like I said at the beginning, 4-2-5 team, and Coach mentioned like the stack formation. We do some of that too. Okay. So they're 4-2-5, right? They don't have any alley support out here in the boundary. Okay, so we're going to run this into the short side. Now I think their stud DN lines up in the boundary on this play. He's number 4. You can just see how quickly we get him out leveraged here, especially once he gets to the end zone. So this is our read guy, exact same thing, just that much quicker. It's out there.
Do you guys change up how you block the perimeter on that? Because I know on the slide you had it drawn a little differently, but you mostly, number 1 and number 1, number 2 has got the...
Yeah, typically I'm not big on, and it depends who we're playing. I'm not big on blocking corners, like unless we're playing Franklin or something, who their corners will actually tackle. Park, their corner sees you come out there, he's gonna might dive at your ankles, but typically we would not change the blocking on it. But I'm not a huge fan of blocking corners. Typically, what we see in our league, we usually have a lot of good safeties in our league, so we try to get a pad on those guys. Now this, I don't know, this was me being a dummy, and I don't know why I call this 2x2 to the field here. Love their running back makes me look not terrible, but great attack on. But you can see this is their stud DN. You just see how quickly he gets out leverage here. He's good. He's very, very big, very fast. Okay, now off of that counter, exactly like I talked about with the inverted veer, we run the counter the same way, so we'll fake the toss, the shuffle, and then it's just quarterback counter downhill. And same deal, we'll do it with the quarterback or the running back and the H-back opposite, and we'll do it with them on the same side. It all depends kind of on the defense. Like this, there's a lot of them of this counter play against Case from this one year because this was like the first week that we tried this, so this game was kind of like our experiment to see which one we liked the best. And this one right here ended up being it. So what we're going to do, we're going to fake the toss to the right and then run the counter back to the left. And it held the linebackers and the safety just enough that you're able to take this one into the touchdown. All right, now another version that we've run is like the downhill power. Looks like power out of pistol, but we're going to read a defensive end. Now, the only quarterback I've ever done it with is the one kid that I've shown you here that we moved from receiver. This worked out well. This was, again, the first game, and most of these clips are against Trent Bird. This was the first time we ever ran this stuff, so these guys have never seen it, so we benefited from that. But you can see now, I talked about it against Oak Creek, the 3-4. So this time, so Tremper has, they've had like 7 defensive coordinators in 7 years. So this year, the guy was a 3-4 guy. And so what we did is the same thing against Oak Creek, is we're going to read the outside linebacker block at the end as our tackle. This time you can see he steps down hard because he thinks it's power. Quarterback pulls it. And takes it in for a touchdown. So again, block at the end, read the outside backer. Same thing, go in the other direction. Again, this kid is really fast, so. This was the first game ever in their new stadium, too. Kenosha just had a huge referendum. Their first game ever in their new stadium, I think we beat them 49-7. This one we typically, I don't think we ever got a give read on this play either. I think every time we ever ran it, it ended up being a keep read for the quarterback. And just that downhill action like that, which is a little different, obviously, than what I'm talking about, with that downhill running back just coming downhill on power. I think really that linebacker was like, oh shit, they're not going to block me, I'm going to go blow this up. Not realizing that we could read it. We ended up getting some big gains all of it. Okay, play action off that. Post wheel. One of my favorite concepts. We run this quite a bit. Gonna come to the bottom of the screen down here. This one is for a touchdown. Too. We run a little pop pass, and this one must have changed up on one of my slides. So we do this, we'll do this off a couple different looks, so we'll run it off of both. This time it's going to be off the downhill power action that I just showed you. So it's going to be, when I teach quarterback, I know you were talking about this with the coach here, we step up through the mesh, and then it's just a quick pop pass off that. We will do it off of the toss, fake the toss, pop up, and throw it, and we've done it off of the sweep action across his face too. This is jet read now. Coach also talked a little bit about this. So we ran it, this is back a few years ago, on empty for the most part. It's a good play for us. Back to the forefront, so we are going to read the D end here in 56. Good goal line play. I am a big fan of the inverted veer look on the goal line. I think that the sweep action tends to get linebackers really flowing. And we almost always, it seems, when we run on the goal line, end up getting a quarterback pull read. Out of bunch now, we didn't do a ton of this. I don't know what you'll see the blocking scheme on this. We block it like wide zone, which I'm not sure. I don't remember why we did that this particular game. It's against Oak Creek in the playoffs. So it's like a tight bunch look. We just go to the inside receiver here. Ends up being a pull read. Just another look, different way to run the same play. So a big thing that I'm very big on trying to find ways to recycle concepts and just give it a different look. And this one, by far, was versatile. Here, just giving the ball now to the tight end or the H-back. Now another one, a tendency breaker that our friend on Twitter would probably didn't think of before he posted his thing. or the H-back now, is the guy who actually is an option in the play here. This is ended up being a really good one for us, as we had a really good tight end one year. Very big kid, pretty fast. So again, now for backfield creep against, now this is going to be reading the outside linebacker. Why our running back blocks him. All right, now the zone stuff, I talked briefly about this in the break. We don't really do this anymore. We did this one year, we tried it, and it was okay. I went back to power the next year. We do run a lot of inside zone though. This was done, the purpose was that we decided one season we wanted to go really fast. We wanted to be like the Oregon, we're going to go super no huddle as fast as we possibly can, try to run 100 plays every game. So we ran one blocking scheme the whole year, and that was inside zone. We wanted to be able to do different things off of it, and we always loved this play, the inverted veer action in the backfield, so we tried it like this. We did it reading defensive ends. Now we ran into some trouble at times with that, so what we depending on who we were playing, we would read the linebacker. Over here. So the biggest difference you'll see is the quarterback's path now changes from being shuffle, shuffle, run straight downhill and power to shuffle, shuffle, go back and run the inside zone track where he's reading. And we do the triangle thing with the inside, the two interior D linemen up to the right backer. That's how we teach our guys to read the zone. This is against case 3 stack, so I think we should be reading the linebacker here. They're lined up right. Okay, now this is kind of the stuff that I talked about at the beginning that I want to try next. So there are some teams that run this, like I think Ohio State's ran this. That might have been where I first saw this. So it's the exact same look in the backfield again, but just another change up to try to, protect the power read. The inverted veer look is to run the counter GT back the other way from it. I don't have any film of that. We have this one I saw too. If you watch the national championship game, Clemson scored a touchdown on this one. I had seen it, so again, back to the James Light thing. If you're on his website, he's got Clemson's playbook on there, and you can see all this stuff, which is very cool. So I stole it from them. I want to give this a shot. So it's just power shovel with the sprint out. I think they hit the shovel pass in the title game for a touchdown. So that was one of the things I want to try this next year. So if you guys have questions or anything, or if you want the copy of this presentation or any of the diagrams or anything, I'd be happy to send it to you. I am on Twitter like Coach. I don't tweet myself. I've never sent out a single tweet ever. I just follow guys and try to learn from it. So